Hey, here we go. Welcome to the Wise Guys, the largest BYU sports live stream show in the whole world and the most watched collegiate sports live stream show on YouTube on Thanksgiving week. We're grateful to all of you who enjoy our show. The stream is already hopping. We've already decided, just a moment ago, we thought, let's set a record on the stream tonight. Didn't we?
Yeah, let's. But I don't know if we can control that. But
no, but it's
like when you said that, I thought, how are we going to do that? But you know what we're going to do? All of you are going to call somebody that you know and say, how come you're not on this right now with us? And we're going to double our audience tonight, and that's how we're going to set the record.
Yeah. So
or text them, text a friend, and say, I don't know why you're not listening tonight. And right out of the chute, we got people from all over the place.
Tokyo, Japan.
Tokyo's in. That's awesome. Alaska's in.
Beaumont, Texas is in. Cary, Idaho is in. Missed the live stream last week because I went to the Burley Temple open house. Okay.
It's okay. That's
you
legit.
made a good choice.
That's
I
legit.
did catch the podcast the next day. Thank goodness. There's two good choices you made.
Yeah. That's, you know what? Well, Austin Collie says when you're living right on and off the field, magic happens. So magic is going to come to you for doing that.
Magic's going to happen here on this show tonight.
Yeah.
Huntsville, Alabama. There's Orem, Utah. Let's span the globe tonight. It's a holiday week. There's sports like out the wazoo.
So fun.
And BYU's rolling in just about everything.
Yeah, last week was a great week to be a Cougar, for sure. It was unbelievable. And there's just more in store this week.
Yeah, we love it.
So it's lots of fun stuff. Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, Eddie and Mountain America Credit Union, and is distributed by the Deseret News. We talked about, hey, we want you all on the live stream, but the new podcast will be out tomorrow wherever you get your podcast.
Just as you say that, Eric, in Singapore
there you go.
is on the stream. So there's Tokyo, Japan, and Singapore. So
right now, and then Orem came in right about the same time. So Orem comes in, then Singapore comes in. That's the furthest place and the closest place to us right now.
East Coast and West Coast. There's Ridgecrest, California. So help us. And there's North Carolina. And there's Edgemont just up the road.
Yeah, so now Edgemont's the closest.
Okay, nice.
Now Edgemont's the closest. And Singapore is still the furthest.
It's like, where's Waldo? Edgemont, you win.
Yeah, you're the closest, Edgemont. So.
Hey, we invite you to subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com. You get highlights from the show just sent to you. Which is awesome. Jack does a great job putting that together. And you can also watch all of our content at wiseguys.com. I don't know how many interviews are there now, but they're all good and they're all big shots.
It's hundreds, right?
Yeah. And then hit that free subscribe button on our YouTube channel. That'll help us grow the show. And the show is growing, which we love.
Yeah, it keeps on growing, and that's all because of you. We appreciate it very much. And we got a fun show for you tonight. Lots of good things to talk about. BYU hosts UCF on Saturday. We're going to look at the scenarios for clinching a date in the Big 12 championship game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the easiest scenario is BYU just wins.
And we'll go through the 4 teams that have a shot.
Right.
But BYU controls it.
BYU could actually play Utah in the Big 12 championship game.
We will show you how
which I didn't think that could happen until we went through the scenarios, and now I'm going, okay, now that
would be fun.
Would be interesting.
I would love that.
That one's a long shot, but that would be interesting.
Would you rather have that or a shot at beating Texas Tech?
I want to play Texas Tech again.
Because if you beat Texas Tech, then you're in business to hosting a first-round game.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think Texas Tech, you did not play the way you wanted to play in that first meeting. People think they got manhandled. They did not get manhandled. We've watched the film a couple of times now. They're not assignment sound on offense in that game, and that was their problem, and they can fix that. And I think they'd have a shot to beat Texas Tech and redeem themselves. How
about Mark saying, best BYU talk show in the world. Hello from Salt Lake City. Happy Thanksgiving,
Mark.
To both of us.
Thanks, Mark Sanders.
You.
Wow.
There's Naperville, Illinois. Gary and Joyce in from Tobago.
When I was in junior high, a girl that I really, really liked, I don't think I can call her a girlfriend because I wasn't allowed to have a girlfriend back then.
Yeah.
But she kind of was. She moved to Naperville, Illinois.
Maybe she's still there.
She could be. So
maybe she's listening
hey,
tonight.
Russ, do you know anybody named Whitney French? She moved to Naperville, Illinois.
Springville, Utah is in, normally from Savannah, Georgia, but we're glad to have you here. Yeah, it is a little cooler here. So let that stream light up as we talk about Brandon Doman, by the way, is going to be here. Former BYU quarterback. He's going to join us. Today's a very special anniversary. I wrote about it in the Deseret News, which you can find at Deseret.com. But we'll tell you what that anniversary is when we introduce Brandon in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, our women's soccer team made it to the Sweet 16, which I think was a big surprise. This was a year with a lot of young folks. They went into the Big 12 tournament, not expected to really do anything, and they ended up winning the Big 12 championship. And than winning their first round game against Utah State. So we'll let you know what happened if you don't already know what happened.
They went up against number 1 Stanford.
Yeah.
BYU Hoops preparing for a Thanksgiving Day basketball game against Miami. So we've got all the football games, and then you switch over, and on ESPN is BYU basketball. That's the world we live in on Thanksgiving afternoons. We've got all the details on that as well. And we will introduce our Relight Athlete of the Week. And when we do that, you'll go, yeah, that's a good choice.
Every week I think people go, yeah, that makes sense.
There's so many phenomenal athletes winning this award that, each one, we haven't had one going, I don't think so. Fascinating stuff. We do want to remind you that we have some great folks that make this show possible.
Yes, absolutely. Brady Plus. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and service and repairs with over 150 distribution facilities around the country and over 6,000 employees. Learn more at bradyplus.com.
As you speak, Wisconsin's in the house, and so is, what did I see there? Nebraska. Wisconsin and Nebraska with us here on the Wise Guys. Thanks. Mountain America Credit Union is a sponsor of the Wise Guys, helping people achieve their financial dreams for over 80 years. Whether you're buying a home, planning for retirement, or managing daily expenses, Mountain America has the tools, technology, and guidance to help you succeed. There's a lot of information waiting for you at macu.com.
Hey, and thanks, Russ Paulos, for checking. You know, he checked in, and he doesn't know anybody named French, so...
Okay.
So my long-lost girlfriend from 8th grade
is lost.
She moved
She's
out,
lost.
and we've never had any contact with her ever since. But I appreciate you checking on that. So, also brought to you by Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. Whether you run a dental office in Spanish Fork, Utah, or a construction crew in Lehigh, Eddie helps you hire, onboard, track time, and run payroll all in one place. It's simple, local, reliable, and built by business owners who believe people come first. See how Eddie can serve your team at Eddie.com.
The Mackeys checking in from Drummond, Montana. They say it was great to meet Jason Shepard at the women's game in Missoula. They were over there cheering on the Cougs, and Shep was there.
And Shep said to me, hey, I met some really nice folks from Montana, and they said they gave you strawberry jam.
Yeah.
And by the way, I had the strawberry jam. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich about an hour ago. And I had that.
You still have the jam? Mine was gone in 2 days.
Because nobody's allowed to touch it at my house but me.
Yeah.
It's my
I don't
secret
have
place.
those rules.
It's my secret place in the fridge.
It's a free-for-all at my house.
So.
Thanks for the jam, Mackeys. Have a great Thanksgiving. Our Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret's in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. And if you believe Diljeet Taylor, that Redmond Relight change your life.
Well, I use it
Make you run faster.
I use every single day when I work out. I hydrate with Relight. So, hey, and Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News and Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850.
Brandon Doman's going to join us in 2 minutes. Before he gets here, let's talk about the polls. The college football playoff poll comes out tomorrow. The AP is out. BYU's 11. The coaches poll is out. They're 11. I think they'll be 11 tomorrow because nobody lost.
Nobody lost. So everybody's just going to stay right where they were.
But, man, are there a bunch of games this weekend. There's Perth, Australia checking in.
Wait, which is further?
It's got to be Perth.
You think Perth is the furthest now?
Further than Singapore? It has to be.
I don't know. DJ always looks up this kind of stuff for us. So, or somebody out there on the can tell us who's further from Provo, Utah, Singapore, or Perth, Australia.
Timothy in Perth says we also have heaps of strawberry jam.
Oh, man.
Fresh picked strawberries from the mother-in-law.
Nice.
And you're living the dream down there. That's sweet. We think they'll stay put, but this is the weekend for some moving around.
Yeah.
And I look at Alabama. I think Alabama's going to lose at Auburn.
Very likely.
And then they will just get out of our way.
Thank goodness.
So we'll see. There's a few others. We're going to break down all of that tonight. Mm-hmm. The Big 12 standings, Texas Tech and BYU are 7-1. Utah and Arizona State are next at 6-2. Eric says no, Singapore's further than Perth, Australia.
Okay, there you go.
All right, you would know Eric.
We're going to trust you.
Eric's been to Australia many times.
Yeah, and he lives in Singapore, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. How about that? So Central Florida and BYU Saturday, 11 a.m. Time's been announced. Mountain time, that is. BYU Sports Nation game day will be at 9 a.m. on BYU TV and ESPN+.
You wake up and have breakfast with us.
Well, and we'll be having breakfast at like 6 a.m.
Yeah. We'll be talking while you guys are eating.
Yeah. Central Florida's at BYU at 11 a.m. That's on, is it ESPNU or ESPN2?
ESPN2.
ESPN2 and BYU Radio. So I mean, ESPN's the mothership, but ESPN2 is closely behind. So lots of eyeballs on it. Middle of the day, which is nice. And then the post-game show, come back to us. Remember, that one's it'll stream live on BYU TV on the app, and then on ESPN Plus. So everything's always on ESPN Plus that we do over there now.
Yeah, and you know, there was some thought that game might be at 10 a.m. on ABC if BYU won, and they won. So we're thinking, 10 a.m. Head-to-head against Michigan and Ohio State. And then 11 came out, and we're like, 11? Never even considered 11. Thought maybe it'd be 1:30, but we're going to do it at 11, and there will be some things riding out that game, or maybe there won't be. We'll talk about that later in the show.
There's some games on Friday that could have, we'll see.
Today, the Big 12 honored a handful of Cougars after the 26-14 win against Kansas City, or on the road at Cincinnati. L.J. Martin, the Offensive Player of the Week, 222 yards rushing, couple of touchdowns here and that.
Yeah, Bear Bachmeier was the Freshman of the Week, 6th time. So if you win it 6 times in a season, aren't you pretty much the Freshman of the Year in the conference?
I think you've locked that up.
And don't you pretty much, are you not a shoo-in for first-team freshman All-American?
Yeah.
I would think he would be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And he's
not only been the Freshman of the Week in the past several weeks, he's been the Offensive Player of the Week.
Listen, he could be the Player of the Year in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So could L.J. Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, you're leading rusher in the league.
Yeah.
Who in the Big 12 is having a bigger year than L.J. Martin?
Yeah, and who in the league's accounted for more touchdowns than Bear?
Yeah.
So
I think that's all going to be interesting. The defensive line of the week belongs to BYU. So it was that kind of game at Cincinnati that held the Bearcats to 87 yards rushing.
Think about that. We talked about this team, really balanced, great running attack, one of the top rushing teams in the conference, one of the top in the country. They could not run the football against BYU, and the quarterback could not get away and run either. It's another fantastic defensive effort. Cincinnati, just for 87 yards rushing, that's big time, man.
Okay, look, there's been some discussion on the stream. Apparently, Perth, Australia is further than Singapore,
man. So
according to the miles.
So Provo, Utah to Perth, Australia is 15,080 kilometers or 9,370 miles. Provo to Singapore is 13,920 kilometers, 8,650 miles. I'm going to have to go with this one because it's got the numbers to back it up.
Yeah. And as we speak, Mark from Uruguay is in. So.
Oh, wait a minute. No, Uruguay's closer.
Still closer.
A lot closer.
Yeah.
Right? So,
all right. That's cool.
All right. So, but
what we love is we got Cougar fans all over the world.
And thanks to DJ, who always just helps us with stuff. He said Perth, Australia is the most isolated metropolitan area in the world, though. So the most isolated.
Okay.
So
right. I believe that.
It's not only is it the furthest away, it's the most isolated. That's wild.
We love the fact that Cougar fans are all over the world.
Yeah.
And while we're waiting for Brandon, there was a note that I wanted to pass on. You know, last week we had Jim Wilson on the show.
Yeah.
The alumni chair for the Cincinnati area. Mm-hmm. And they had a big tailgate, they had a big service project. They wanted to fill the food bank on campus there at Cincinnati. And also they wanted to get a bunch of coats. And so here's what happened. I wrote down a couple of notes. So the church comes in with 27,000 pounds of food. They roll a truck in, they fill up the food bank at Cincinnati. And then Cougar fans also donated 600 coats, not 6,000, 600 coats for elementary school kids there. So we had listeners of this show donating, and we had Cougar fans from all over the country donating, and then the church donates. And so all this went down last weekend at Cincinnati. And it reminded me of when BYU went to Arkansas a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And there was that tweet from one of the Arkansas fans, and I'll have to paraphrase loosely, but he said, how do you not like BYU? They come to your town, they fill up your food bank, they beat your team, and they leave. And so BYU goes to Cincinnati, they fill up their food bank, they donate 600 coats for kids, they beat their team, and now they're back home.
Yeah, that's exactly what they do.
That's how we roll.
So,
and we have a good time because we have a chance to bring on the alumni chairs from all these places where BYU goes, and kind of get the heads up on what they're doing and help encourage folks to get involved in our streamers. BYU Nation, Cougar Nation from all over the world is really good at that. And so then when you see something like that, you're like, yeah, that's big.
Yeah, it is exactly what BYU wants to do to kind of spread the word that BYU and its fan base are a Christian community that wants to go out there and want to help others. And it's being received loud and clear. The other thing that we do every week when we play an opponent, whether it's a home game or an away game, with our pregame shows, we always do a big story feature where we send a crew out to the other campus. We find something that someone's doing that's noteworthy, that's changing the world, and we put a bright spotlight on it. And we air it, and it's out on all social media and all that kind of stuff as well. And the opposing teams in the league, they see those and they come back and they go, "What? Why do you do this? Like what are you trying to do?" And BYU says, "What we're trying to do is we're trying to put a bright spotlight on people that are doing great things in our league, on our partners in this Big 12 conference." And I'll tell you what, that has gone a long way as well. To making people in the league go, hey, BYU is a great teammate to have when it comes to being like, because even though we play against each other, we're all teammates in the Big 12, right? Mm-hmm. And when our alumni association does things like this and the church does things like this, man, that goes a long way to showing people that we care and that we want to be good partners in the world.
It's great. Eduardo on the live stream says, it's the first time in 2 months that I've caught the show live since I'm living in Malta now.
Malta, I know where Malta is, and that's not further than Singapore or Perth, but no, it's still far away.
We're spanning the globe.
Yeah.
We're spanning the globe. We're all over the place.
Yeah, it is tonight. Amazing. Thanks for being in with us.
So here's a thought. If BYU, and let's just talk early in the scenarios here. If BYU, they play UCF on Saturday. Friday night, if Arizona beats Arizona State, BYU's in.
Right.
Before they even wake up on Saturday, they're in the Big 12 championship game. So do you rest guys if you have that option?
No.
Or do you go, I need style points here?
You're playing for more than just to be in the Big 12 championship game, right?
Yeah.
You're playing, you want to be impressive on Friday, and you want to go into that Big 12 championship game with an 11-1 record because you want to have, we'll watch what happens this weekend, but you want to have an opportunity where you're ranked high enough that even if you lose in the Big 12 championship game, but it's a close game, you got a chance to be an at-large into the college football playoff. Now, that's a little bit handicapped this year because the ACC and the G4 or G5 now are horrible this year. There's not a team in the ACC ranked in the top 12.
It's terrible.
And there's not going to be.
No.
In fact, they're at risk of having an unranked team win the ACC right now. And then the G5, they've all beat each other up this year, and there's nobody remotely. There's not a Boise State this year. Do you know who could be in this thing? Jake Retzlaff and Tulane.
Yeah.
How about that?
That would be great.
Well, what if Jake Retzlaff goes to Tulane and he brings the team into the? Now they're going to be the lowest seeded team in the college football playoffs, so they're going to play Ohio State. Well, they'd actually have a play-in game before that Ohio State game, but they're going to play the highest ranked. The 5th ranked team. They'd play Texas Tech right now. That's who Tulane would play.
Yeah.
I don't think Tulane wants to play Texas
I
Tech.
hope Jake. I
hope they get there, though. That would be fun.
By the way, Eduardo says Malta's in Europe. It's an island in the Mediterranean Ocean just below Italy. So, you know what? We haven't been on Malta until tonight. That's a new spot for us.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
So
very cool.
That's a cool place to be.
Yeah.
And there's Tucson. We have been in Tucson. Neil, good to have you with us on the stream. Be a sold-out crowd on Saturday. The weather's getting better. Instead of snow in the morning, it's now maybe that night. We'll be long gone by then. It'll be chilly.
Yeah.
But to get through a season without much rain or snow or bitter cold, 40s is not 20s when we've been there before.
Yeah.
Maybe we might just get lucky for an 11 a.m. kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, it's when we first looked at it, immediately following the game, we looked at Saturday and thought, ooh, this could be a bad weather game. This could be snow. It could be miserable. And then we're thinking, if it's at night, it could be snowing at night. I think the 11 o'clock game, the little bit of a change in the extended forecast is going to make this pleasant cold. Central Florida, all they need is a little cold to make them not feel comfortable. Lots of kids from the Southeast on that football team.
Yeah, it's gonna be a chilly warm up. Brandon, a moment from now. So let's talk about these championship scenarios for the Big 12 championship game, which is December 6th in Arlington. As mentioned, a BYU win over UCF or an Arizona State loss to Arizona Friday gets the Cougars in.
Immediately in, yeah.
If BYU loses to UCF and Texas Tech loses and Arizona State and Utah both win, BYU gets in. This is all according to the Big 12.
Right.
Okay, and then Texas Tech scenario is pretty simple.
And by the way, isn't that the one that BYU would play Utah?
Yeah, I think so. Texas Tech, a win at West Virginia or an Arizona State loss, and they're in. So
Wait a minute, no,
they control their destiny.
I was wrong about that one. That one, the Texas Tech loss and Arizona State and Utah wins. I think it would be Arizona State and BYU in that one because Arizona State would have the tiebreaker. Oh, wait a minute.
The Utes beat Arizona State.
You're right. So it would be Utah in that one. Okay. So go back to where you were.
For the Sun Devils to get in.
Right.
A win over Arizona, a BYU win, and losses by Texas Tech and Utah.
There you go.
Or a win over Arizona and losses by BYU and Utah. Or a win over Arizona, losses by BYU and Texas Tech, and a win by Utah. So that's a little convoluted as you get further down the stream. But they've got to beat Arizona to even have a chance.
Right. And I think they have the most difficult game of the four we're talking about, yeah. Arizona State. Arizona's on a roll right now. They're one of the top defenses in the conference. They're playing really well. In fact, one of the top defenses in the country. And they still don't have Sam Levitt. So I think they've got to win, and that's not an easy win over Arizona.
So here's Utah's scenario. A win over Kansas, a Texas Tech loss, and wins by Arizona State and BYU. And in this scenario, it's BYU.
Utah would have the tiebreaker over Arizona State.
In Arlington.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, wouldn't that be interesting?
The most likely scenario is BYU and Texas Tech.
The top two teams are going to win.
Yeah, and they're heavy favorites going in.
Yeah.
So the most likely scenario is BYU and Texas Tech just take care of business like they should, and they go into the game and they play both ranked. At that point, don't you think they'd both be in the top 10? I do.
Yeah,
so
I think you're right.
A top 10 matchup in the Big 12 championship game is what everybody wants.
All right, let's bring in our headliner tonight. It was 25 years ago today, November 24th, 2000, when LaVell Edwards coached his final game at BYU. It was dramatic come-from-behind victory against Utah at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Brandon Doman was the quarterback who pulled it off. It's our pleasure to have Brandon back on the Wise Guys tonight. Brandon, good to see you.
Hey.
Hey, there you are.
Good evening to you guys. I apologize for my late entry here. It's been quite an afternoon, so I'm sorry about that.
We're just glad to have you. 25 years ago, does it feel that long, or does it feel like more like yesterday?
Well, I'm looking at myself in that picture, and it clearly has been 25 years for sure.
We don't even talk about how many years it's been for me, Brandon. So 25 seems like not that many to me, honestly. So
when you think of milestones and things in your life, and of course in LaVell's 25 years, in many ways, as we watch the highlights, it doesn't feel like it was 25 years ago, especially as we talk stories and strategies on that last drive. But that's a pretty big milestone, and you got LaVell his last win, and no one can take that away from you no matter what. I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I've said this a number of times. I just feel so grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. I recognize that was a unique blessing in my life. So,
do you still remember what that felt like when you dove across the goal line to give BYU that go-ahead touchdown with 23 seconds left? What went through your head at that time?
Well, I look back at it now and watch it on TV, and I'm just grateful they don't have instant replay. They did not have instant replay, because I'm sure they would have reviewed the heck out of that, and it was awfully close as I fell across the goal line. But I'll never forget Robbie Bosco coming into the huddle and telling us that we were going to run a QB sweep right. We didn't even have that in the playbook. I never heard that in my 3 years there. And he said, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put, Luke here and Tavita here, and Kalani was on the field as well. And we're going to run this QB sweep. And those guys, if you go back and watch that play, they sold out on their blocks. It was such a fun thing to watch my teammates just give it everything they had on that play to make sure that I got across that goal line. And I was the beneficiary of being around some pretty unbelievable guys in that moment.
Well, Brandon, let's go back a few plays. It's 4th and 13 at your own 17-yard line. What were you thinking when you broke the huddle there? Now you're behind. You're a long ways away. It's 4th and long, and you're still the quarterback, and you got to do something. What was going on in your mind?
I don't think a true competitor and somebody that, you know, believes in themselves and believes in their team ever thinks they're ever out of the game. And so no matter the circumstance, every time we walked back into that huddle, there was a continuous belief that somehow, some way we were going to figure it out. And I remember rolling out to the left and looking out. They were in, you know, a prevent style defense, and there was a little hole out by the hash mark about 35 yards down the field. And I figured the only chance that Jonathan Pittman had to get that pass was if I would throw it into that dead spot. And sure enough, he retraced his tracks and got into that space and made the play. So it was, you know, one of those moments in our lives, in my life, that usually those things don't happen. So it was one of those miraculous moments for sure.
But Brandon, that wasn't the only,
There's
it's like,
more.
yeah, you completed that one, and then you hit Jonathan again on the next play for almost the exact same gain, like 36-36. Now what's going through your head? Because it's unlikely to get one like that in that scenario, but how about back-to-back?
Well, Jonathan clearly was a gamer, and he wanted the ball. We were running down the field. Now we're in a 2-minute drive. And as we're running down the field, I've got to get a play call in. And they're signaling from the sideline they wanted me to run 64, which you know what that is, Blaine. We were just going to run
outs.
10-yard speed outs and try and get the ball to the sideline and get the clock to stop. And as I was signaling that, I was holding out the number 4, and that just meant 64. If we shook our hands, then, you know, we were saying 54. But Jonathan Pittman got the 64 signal from me, and he looked over at me and waved me off and started shaking his hand down like this. I'm trying to get it in the camera.
Yeah.
Which meant 58.
Which fade,
meant,
yeah.
Yeah, he was going to run a fade. He was going to run an outside go route on the sideline. And Ben Horton was on the field side, and he got this 64 signal and ran his 10-yard out. So I dropped back and was preparing to throw the 64 to the field to Ben. And I had all but written off Jonathan because he wasn't doing what I was asking him to do. And, man, I stuck my foot in the ground. And I threw the 58 to the sideline. I still to this day don't know why I did it. But, I think you follow your instincts, you follow your gut, and you're trying to make a play. And in that moment, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go right back to this guy and throw it up to him. And he tippy-toed on the sideline, made the play, and then handoff to Luke Staley, and he runs the ball down to the 4-yard line, and we call a timeout. And Robbie, like I said, Coach Bosco comes out there and tells us we're running a QB sweep right, and we scored the touchdown. Then we had to go for 2 because we were only up by 5 at that point, and we did a sprint. We call it kind of a sprint right option. And Soren Halliday was just running across the goal line, a little snag route, and the corner route wasn't open. And I could see that I had a little small window to throw it in there to Soren Halliday, and he caught it for the 2-point conversion, which gave us a ton of confidence going into to finish that game out right.
Brandon, as you're describing this, we've eliminated 25 years, right?
Yeah.
We're now right back in it.
And well, here's the thing that kills me.
Remember that night? It was cold, and we're in it now.
It kills me, Brandon, that as you just described that to us, 3 of the plays of the 4 to score the touchdown, you guys kind of made up on the fly. Because Jonathan kind of retraced his steps and didn't run the actual route. He broke off of his route on the 4th down play. He waved off the route that you were supposed to call on the 64 and ran the 58. And you decide you're not going to throw it to him, but you do anyhow, and he makes the play. And then you make up a play almost like you drew it in the dirt on the touchdown run. How common is that you coached a long time too, for you to do 3 plays that really aren't the plays that you've designed and practiced, and for those all to be successful to get in and get a touchdown to win this game?
Well, I think coaches sometimes take too much credit and too much blame. you just got to make sure that you recruit players, coach them up right, and then let them go play. And in that instance, we had plenty of good players, and you just need to trust in the preparation and know that we're ready to play, and then let us go play. And players are going to make plays, and in those situations, you want the ball in the hands of your guys that are going to be playmakers. And you look at Jonathan Pittman and Luke Staley, and the coaches trust that I could get the ball into the end zone, and I'm grateful that they did, and I'm grateful that I had that opportunity. But anytime you watch great football teams, they've got really good players making really good plays, and I had to prove myself that I could make plays and that they would put me in a position to participate there. And I just, like I said, I'm grateful I got to do it. And like the coaches, they're on the sideline just hoping like mad that we're going to make whatever play we got to make, and that we're not going to, mess it up and throw the ball to the opposing team, and which I've done in my lifetime. But in those moments when it needed to get done, when we had to make a big play, again, I count myself really blessed that I got to be on the field at that time.
Former BYU and 49ers quarterback Brandon Doman's on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, Mountain America Credit Union. And Eddie, the more BYU plays and wins, LaVell's legacy continues to grow. What was it about him that still has him larger than life, even 9 years after his passing and 25 years after his final game?
It's that his legacy keeps growing. Our love for him keeps getting bigger. And it says a lot about him as a human being, that as more time passes, the more we love him and the more we miss him and the more gratitude we have for him. He knew us by name. He knew our wives by name. His wife was so unusual, so great. He was larger than life then, and those of us that got to play on his team and experience what he brought to college football, what he brought to BYU, it's and Blaine would say it, just what a blessing we've been given to be a part of it.
A couple more questions. We know you have a commitment coming up here. We appreciate your time. Bear Bachmeier, 11 rushing touchdowns, no turnovers last two games, TCU and Cincinnati. As you've watched him progress over the season, and we last talked to you in August, what have you seen?
So impressive. I mean, for a freshman to do what he's doing, I've seen enough football in my life, and in August I questioned whether or not he was capable of doing it. But kudos to the coaching staff. They knew him. They recruited him. They had enough background to know who this young man is and what he was all about, and just the grit, the stick-to-itiveness, the intellectual capacity that he has to manage college football at his age and the mature manner in which he does that is really rare. It's not very common, and he's uncommon, and he's one of those kinds of football players and one of those kinds of human beings, frankly. And BYU's lucky to have him on their team, and now I know why they picked him. They picked the right guy.
Brandon, BYU's 21-3 over the last two seasons. As a Power 4 program, playing a schedule like you and I never imagined or never played against, right? 10-1 at the moment this season. Over that span, what's impressed you the most about this BYU program?
Well, they've been able to stay healthy. And so their training staff, their weight room efforts, their athletic training group, staff, all the conditioning and nutrition and everything goes in. There's such a massive staff of people behind those players. And for the most part, they've kept them healthy. Their quarterback has stayed healthy. They've been able to not have to go too far into their depth chart, because their depth chart is still waning. They still have some weak spots in that depth chart that they're still growing and developing. But two seasons like this, to be able to maintain, reasonably good health and maintain a quarterback that can finish the season, that's playing the way these two quarterbacks played the last 2 years, is remarkable. And then Jay Hill and that defense has been unbelievable. And the fact that he's been able to put back-to-back seasons like this, the turnover margin, the takeaways, there's been so many positive things that have happened. It's now enhancing their ability to recruit, and so their depth chart's just going to continue to get better. And if they manage the NIL appropriately, like getting Tanuvasa in here, some other key components to the team when they need it, when they've needed it. I think they've just done a remarkable job.
Let's finish with this, Brandon. From the Domans to all of Cougar Nation, what is your Thanksgiving wish for everybody?
Big 12 championship game, December 6th, 11 a.m. in Dallas, Texas. That's the wish. And hopefully we'll see y'all down there.
I'll be honest.
Nice.
I thought you were going to say peace and love and compassion for everybody. And we went right to Arlington, which I shouldn't be surprised because it's within their grasp, right? That this is as close as they've been, like ever, right? It's right here.
Yeah, it's there for the taking, and I think they have the right mindset. You watch Kalani and the way that the way he's leading this team, and I think their mindset's right, and I think we'll see a good, solid football team on Saturday. They have a lot to prove. No one believes in them, so there's no reason for them to be overconfident right now because all the pundits out there don't want to believe in them anyways.
Yeah.
They already want to write them off, so they have everything in the world to play for on Saturday, and they need to play like that on Saturday and put themselves in the championship game.
Mohan Rai on the stream in from Jakarta, Indonesia to listen to Brandon Doman tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, and a great friend of ours in the program, our best to Alicia and your family. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and thanks for giving us some time tonight.
Likewise, all the best.
Thanks,
Take
Brandon.
care.
Brandon Doman, so 25 years ago today, they didn't play on a Monday night, so it's a calendar thing. 25 years ago today, he leads that miraculous comeback. Remember, at BYU had a big lead. And then the Utes made the comeback. And then BYU had to make the comeback. And in the Deseret News today, I wrote a little article on the 20-second exchange between LaVell and Ron McBride at the middle of the field.
Yes.
And that's all the story's about, but it just captured everything about those two guys, their friendship in a rivalry. All the crazy people over here, the two leaders are best friends, telling each other they love each other, and it's LaVell's last game. He's got the game ball, and both of them were emotional, and that level of civility we don't see and haven't seen for a long time. But it took two really unique guys to do it. Kalani's a really unique guy. Kyle doesn't like to do that kind of stuff.
No.
It just hasn't. It just had a handshake and he's moving on. But McBride and LaVell, they were friends.
They kind of made the rivalry a good rivalry. Right? It was a good rivalry. It was a respectful, good rivalry. And I think it's a respectful rivalry now because certainly Kyle respects Kalani, and Kalani is not afraid to just say, yeah, I love Kyle and all that he's done for me. He's like very grateful and very respectful. So there's some respect back in the rivalry. But not LaVell and Ronnie, they made it special. Like it was almost like they were two brothers battling against each other,
and they hung out together.
Yeah, and Ron was at spring ball at BYU just this last spring.
Yeah,
and he's been a dear friend ever since he coached there at Utah, and he's been so good to me and so kind to our family, and he was over there and he was in a circle, and I went over and joined the circle, and he had Gary Anderson there, and he had Justin Enna there, and he had Jay Hill there, and he had Kalani there, and he just said, look at this. All of our guys, all of our Utah guys right here in one circle, and you got all you have BYU gear on. And he said, I can't believe it. He goes, it makes me almost like I've got to root for BYU now. Because think about it, all those guys coached at Utah, right? He considers all those guys part of the the Utah family. And he goes, you guys want to go grab me a BYU shirt and I'll put it on and we can tweet something out? That'll make everybody up north go nuts.
He doesn't care what those guys think
and then everybody said, nah, we probably shouldn't do that. I don't think that would be a good idea.
I was there one day. President Reese was there, and he got a selfie with him. And Ron, Coach McBride, said, I can't believe I got a selfie with the president of BYU. What's going on here?
Yeah.
But he gets that kind of treatment because that's what people get who are respected.
Yeah.
And the rivalry and this and that, but when you're respected, that supersedes that.
Well, and what Ron did, like, to me, he's the most pivotal guy in Utah football history. And Kyle was my roommate. I lived at the Whittingham's house, and what he's done since that time is phenomenal. But what Ron did was he took it when it wasn't competitive, and he changed the trajectory of Utah recruiting. He tapped into the Polynesian pipeline. He went over to Polynesia and took off his shoes and sat on the floor and ate with folks. And he changed Utah's recruiting trajectory and got good, high-quality players to come in and play at Utah because he created a culture where players wanted to play. And then the rivalry became a rivalry because Utah was competitive. And then, then Urban came in, and Urban added the grind and the accountability to these phenomenal players that Ron recruited. Urban did not recruit the players that he won with.
Right.
He wasn't here long enough. He played with Ronnie's great players that he brought there. And then Kyle just kind of took a little piece of each of those guys and created a culture that kind of tapped into what Ronnie did with recruiting, and then brought some of that high discipline, high accountability that Urban had, and they've had this unbelievable run with it. But I really feel like Ron McBride was the pivotal coach that could change the trajectory of a program that was not good and not competitive, and he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Biff is on the stream checking in from Ho Chi Minh City.
We are all over the globe tonight.
Yeah, Jakarta's just right above him with Mahanrai, and then that's fantastic. So there we are.
And I'm going to end with this on Ron McBride. What I love the most is he did all of this and had a best friend in LaVell Edwards. Yeah. He could still be a great friend of the biggest rival, and it made the rivalry great when they were here. Remember those big 5 huddle luncheons or big 4 huddle luncheons that we'd go to?
You had to watch it.
It was great.
All right, so thanks to Brandon Doman for joining us, and I loved what he had to say about Bear. I interviewed Bear today for our pregame show on Saturday, and I asked him why he walks around with bare feet, and that answer will be on the show on Saturday.
Yeah, we're not going to tell you until
then. Hey, and I did ask him this. I said, hey, how long does it take for your body to feel right? Because we know that he got the heck kicked out of him at that football game.
Yeah.
He goes, Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday when he starts feeling normal again. I'm like,
that's for everybody.
Today's Monday. It's a long week ahead. But by the time they're eating turkey, he'll be feeling better. So that's good.
Yeah, 12 games into a Power 4, like any college football at that level, Division I level, it's Thursday every week.
He says some cool things about Cougar Nation, who didn't know him 6 months ago, and he didn't know them. And now millions of people know number 47.
And how about Brandon? That's ultimate compliment. Brandon's like, hey, I wasn't sure he could do it. He was surprised they played him as a freshman. Yeah. Because Brandon knows that most freshmen, no matter how talented they are, they're not wired to be able to do it. Yeah. They don't have the mentality. And he's close with McKay Hillstead, and he told us. He goes, hey, I just, full disclosure here, McKay's friends with my kids, and I think he should be the quarterback. And he figured McKay had some Division I experience, and just freshmen just don't do what Bear has done. They just don't. It's so rare. And Brandon's like, I acknowledge it. They knew what they had. They knew what he was doing. They were right there. They decided to go, and they went with the right guy. He's phenomenal. He is so rare to be able to do what he does, to make the decisions, to protect the football, to not let the moment get too big. There's not been even Texas Tech, he got banged around in that, but it didn't look like, he's overwhelmed, the moment's too big. They just weren't knocking guys off the ball so that he could run. I did ask him, and this isn't in the interview, so I can say that. Yeah, say it. I said, when you got hit, we saw you on the sideline, wheezing. Was that the biggest hit? And he goes, no. I go, what was the biggest hit he took all year? What do you think it was? The one at Texas Tech. No, he said it was the one in the Utah game. Oh, that's right. Where he got cheap shotted, and the player Barton, I think it was, got kicked out of the game. I forgot about that because he got hit right in the face with a target. That was wicked. And I said, were you out? He goes, things were getting pretty dark there for a minute. I'll tell you. And then he got up, and then we'll talk about that touchdown run in the interview. But man, he is taking a lick, and he just keeps ticking. And so Bear Bachmeier on game day on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on BYU TV and ESPN Plus. And it's so fun to get to know him. So you were with him today. Last week, I was talking to him because remember that rumor that he was 265 pounds? Yeah. And so I was walking with Falitau Satawala and with JoJo Phillips. And we were walking by, and Bear was just kind of stretching out. He was back barefooted again at the end of practice. And I said, okay, Bear, you got to level with me. I heard on that whole ABC thing, you're not 260 plus pounds. And he goes, no, that got all misinterpreted. We were kind of joking. Somebody said 260, so I just went with it. I'm not 260. I said, how much are you? And he said, I'm about 230-ish.
Ish.
I said, how much is 230-ish? And he said, I don't know, somewhere between 230 and 235. And then JoJo goes, yeah, you should see this kid. He piles his plate up. And then Bear says, I've got to have my nutrition. I've got to feed myself so that I can be healthy. And we walked over and JoJo goes, he's a big dude. Would you want to tackle him? I'm like, no, I would not want to tackle him.
Give him an off season, a full off season in the strength and conditioning program at BYU.
Yeah.
He's going to be more than a bear to deal with next August. It's going to be almost impossible to bring him down.
He has unbelievable natural strength in his lower body. He's got a huge lower body and has great quickness and good feet for somebody that's that big. You give him a year and he'll get a little bit bigger in his upper body, though he'll get stronger in his lower body. Next year, would you want to tackle that kid?
No.
No way. No way. I'm telling you, we're going to show a play on AFR tomorrow night where LJ runs into a guy and knocks his head back and his mouthpiece comes out.
Yeah.
Next year, LJ and Bear are going to be doing that to people.
How about that tandem?
Oh, my goodness.
And then you throw in a healthy Sione Moa.
Yeah, and LJ's over 230 as well.
Yeah.
So you got two backs running at you over 230, and then Sione will run over you too. And then BYU's offensive line is as physical as any in the country.
I'm telling you, LJ's got a legit shot at Player of the Year in the Big 12.
He is.
I mean, there's
impressive.
the linebacker from Texas Tech. He's great. But if you're the leading rusher in the Big 12, and you still have a couple more games left.
Yeah. Phil Jenkins is asking if we know what the players eat for Thanksgiving. Do they get stuffed with plenty of pie? They usually have a big Thanksgiving feast available for them. And also, the players are so tied into the community, they all get invited to go someplace as well. Do you know what I mean? BYU makes sure that every one of those guys has a place to go, whether it's to coaches' houses or to a family. So they not only do they feed them well, but they make sure they have a place to spend some time with family. And if it's not with their family, at least with a family that cares about them. So, yeah, we typically invite some to come with us every Thanksgiving.
Kelvin says, hey, do you think any of the juniors will walk out like Chase and Jack Kelly and some of the others did last year? And Kalani was asked that today. We'll hear from Kalani in a minute, but he was asked about that today, and he said, hey, yeah, if they want to walk, let's let them walk. It might be their last experience, and if not, they come back and they get a second blanket.
That's right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's a Kalani culture, right?
Yeah.
Hey, if that's what they want to do, let's let them do it, right?
Howard's on the stream from Alaska as we span the globe here tonight. Here's this week's Big 12 schedule. And we'll tell you the games that are important and the games that are just filling their TV obligations. Friday morning at 10 o'clock on Fox is Utah at Kansas. Must win for Utah.
Yeah.
Not going to be an easy one.
If they don't win, it seems weird to say, but that will be a come up short season for them because they started the season with Kyle saying this is the most talented team I've ever had. And they are very good. They're especially good on offense.
Yeah, and they're on a heater playing some of the weaker teams in the Big 12.
Yeah, but if they lose to Kansas, they're not even in the conversation for college football playoff. They're not in the conversation for the Big 12 championship game. I mean, by Friday morning. So what do I expect? I expect them to take care of business. I don't think Kansas can keep them from running the football.
At the other end of Friday at 7 o'clock Mountain Time is Arizona at Arizona State, also on Fox. Mm-hmm. That's a big one. Cougar Nation will be watching that. If Arizona State loses, then BYU's in no matter what happens on Saturday.
Arizona with Noah Fafita at quarterback and the way their defense is playing against Arizona State without Sam Leavitt. I like Arizona State's toughness. This is the game, folks. Yeah. I don't know who's going to win that, but Arizona is very capable of knocking Arizona State out of the contention.
That's must-see TV Friday night.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And a great way to cap the day, and then the next morning you wake up and it's time for the Cougs. On Saturday, Texas Tech is at West Virginia. That's at 10 a.m. on ESPN. A Texas Tech win, and they're in.
And West Virginia, I can't see them hanging with Texas. Texas Tech is too good. And we always use this term. This is a really well-coached football team. But you go watch the film of Texas Tech and BYU. I mean, those guys on defense, they're always in the gap they're supposed to be in. They're where they're supposed to be on offense. They execute at such a high level. I think the greatest compliment you can give a team is, well, they're really well-coached. Because that compliment means they really do what they're supposed to do. They're very assignment sound on both sides of the ball. I can't see them losing to West Virginia.
Saturday at the same time, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. No one cares about that one.
And Iowa State's going to kill them.
That's on ESPNU. UCF BYU's at 11 on ESPN2. But you'll be watching our 2-hour pregame show on that one.
We'll tell you all about it. What do we expect? We expect BYU to dominate that game.
And then Cincinnati is at TCU later in the day. So Houston is at Baylor. Colorado's at Kansas State. Those games are just being played out, but they have nothing to do with the Big 12 championship. We went over the scenarios a few moments ago. Let's talk about this big win at Cincinnati, 26-14 for BYU. Here's what we liked, and then we'll get to Blaine's keys. We liked LJ Martin. We liked that he ran 32 times for 222 yards. He only was tackled one time behind the line of scrimmage. Had one negative carry. Career highs for him in carries and yards, 2 touchdowns. He just got stronger and stronger. And this is a guy who went out early with a shoulder injury against Iowa State, came back quick, was not 100% against Texas Tech, took that first handoff 12 yards up the middle, and then BYU kind of got lost in how they were. I didn't know what the game plan was. But then he comes back against TCU and has a solid game, and then he has a dominating game. And it's not like the shoulder healed in the last 2 weeks, but it's gotten better, it's gotten stronger. But he's tough. He's run tough.
He had some runs. This is his best game of his career because not only did he display the vision and the jump cuts and the ability to see the field, he's been doing that all year. He finished runs in this game like he just wanted to punish people. Mm-hmm. And we've all kind of been waiting for him to recognize how big and physical he is and to finish those runs and punish the defenders. He did it over and over and over again the other night. He looked like an NFL running back the other night.
Here's what we liked about Bear. No turnovers. On the road, again, hostile environment, no turnovers.
Yeah. He was accurate in his throws. He didn't turn the ball over. He contributed in the run game. He's just become the ultimate game manager, but not just a game manager because he contributes in a big way. He makes big plays. He can kill you in the run game. And when he runs, it's like bowling pins flying around. Nobody wants to come up in the secondary and hit him.
No.
Just his ability to stay in the moment, to not let the moment be too big, to manage this team with confidence and with an ease that just puts the offense at ease has been remarkable for a freshman. He was great again the other night.
And some folks say, hey, he can't just keep doing this. You can't run him that much, or you can't run LJ 32 times and keep him healthy. But it's football, and you do what it takes to win, and sometimes it takes that to win, and then that's what they do. And Kalani kind of answered that, hey, it's a physical team. You have to be physical. And you're 10-1. Can you run LJ 30 times on Saturday and Bear 15 times? If that's what it takes to beat UCF, that's exactly what you do.
Now, I think against UCF, and UCF's they're not bad on defense.
No, they're got athletes.
They're solid on defense. I'm just going to call them solid on defense. I do think BYU can be a little more balanced. I think they can mix the run and the pass and maybe not put so much on LJ and not so much on Bear in this game. They can get the ball out to the perimeter, and because BYU I think can move the ball on these guys.
But if you have to, that's what you do.
If you do, you just pound it.
Yeah.
If you have to run a 4-minute offense at the end of the game, you need to hand it to LJ 8 times. You do.
Yeah.
And
just winning the game is still what matters.
Central Florida struggled on offense this year. They're not a juggernaut on offense. They're like 86th in the nation in scoring offense. So, yeah, I do think BYU will be a little more balanced, and I think that they'll be able to get out in front early. I think they can force some turnovers. So maybe they don't have to put so much pressure on them this game. But you know what? If they get to face Texas Tech again, the load's going to be on those two.
It has to.
Although I think the load will be a little more on Bear to pass it. Because Texas Tech's the #1 rush defense in the country, and I think we learned that is for real the first time we played them.
Yeah. Well, we did find out that Cincinnati is a really good run defense. Not so much. They got once you get tired, they're out there for over 17 minutes.
Yeah, 17 minutes more than BYU.
That's a quarter's 15 minutes. So it's like you went the second half and you said, hey, we're going to have the ball most of the time.
Yeah.
Good luck to your defense. And in the end, their defense couldn't stop them. That's why.
And BYU's defense was phenomenal again, where they held Cincinnati to 20 points below their season average. That was a offense that had moved the ball and scored points. Not against BYU.
Good quarterback, good receivers, good running backs. Yeah. Here's what we didn't like. We didn't like that Brendan Sorsby threw for 300 yards. And when he got in a rhythm, he was tough to stop.
Yeah, and that's, you don't like it, but if they can't run the ball at all and they get one-dimensional, they can't score throwing it like that, right? And that was their issue. They just couldn't score, and they missed some field goals. I get it. They're longer
and they
field
had
goals.
some turnovers.
Yep.
They did some things that hurt themselves.
He'd only thrown 4 picks all season long.
Yeah.
But BYU's defense forced them. I love, somebody mentioned and somebody put in the chat, Jay Hill, 2 words, Jay Hill, and Brandon talked about Jay Hill this last 2 years. Not only has Jay Hill brought a scheme to this defense, he's brought a mentality which I see showing up every week now, and that mentality is, we're going to dominate you physically. Like, it's not just enough to kind of hold you down. We're gonna literally beat you up in the game. Smack you. We're gonna beat you up. When you catch a ball, we're gonna come and smack you. The ball's gonna come out. When you run the ball, we're gonna hit you so hard the ball's gonna come out. And we're gonna create turnovers because we're gonna be so physical. And they go into games, and that entire defense has that mentality. And every level of BYU's defense will hit you. Like, think about BYU's safeties, Folly Tau and Tanner Wall. Mm-hmm. They smack you like a linebacker. Raider Dumuni, they hit you like a linebacker. Talon Alfrey, they hit you. Even BYU's quarterback, Evan Johnson will come up and he will make a play at the line of scrimmage. We saw Trey Alexander make a big play where he came up and hit a guy at the line of scrimmage. And then the backers and D-line they're just nasty. So it's that nasty mentality that arrives at the game by reputation before BYU even does. Because the team watches them on film and they go, oh man, these guys are just beating people up. We can't get beat up like that. You start saying that, you have a little doubt in your mind. And so I love the defense in this one.
Calvin on the stream has a question about any Utah high school players you'd like to see BYU recruit. Jeff Hansen, recruiting guru, is going to be on Wise Guys on December 15th. That show, we will tackle that question. So hang with us and we'll get to all that. He knows all that stuff. And that's why he comes on this show frequently. So hang with us on that. Here's something else we didn't like from that game. Chase Roberts got hurt, tweaked his hamstring, or at least it tightened up early. They threw it to him deep, remember? And then we didn't see him again. And I think we're sitting in the green room and Austin was like, anyone seen Chase? And we realized he'd been out of the game for a while because they ran so much. But he did extend his receiving streak to 37 straight games with a catch before the injury. We just wonder if we'll see him under cooler conditions on Saturday.
Yeah, and they Kalani kind of made it really clear. He didn't pull his hamstring, that it tightened up. And if you're smart and you feel that, you go to the coaches and you go, listen, okay, can we do something here? Can we try to stretch? Can I get some fluids? But if that thing doesn't loosen up, the last thing you want Chase Roberts to do is go back out on the field and push off hard and fully cycle with that leg and actually tear a hamstring and not play the rest of the year. Yeah. So they sat him down for precautionary reasons because they had tightened up and there was a fear that he would pull his hamstring if he continued. So let's see what they do with him this week and how what they can do to get that thing to loosen back up. I would not be surprised if he plays this week. But on the other side, if he has any tightness at all, do you really want him to play against Central Florida?
No, because you have to have him indoors in Arlington.
You have to have him there, right?
Because we saw what happened when he went out.
Right.
Any team that loses their star receiver, the offense changes. Arizona State's a totally different team when Tyson isn't in the game.
Absolutely.
And when he's in the game, then doesn't matter who the quarterback is. He's got someone to throw to. But we saw that when we knew he wasn't coming back, we talked amongst ourselves going, who's it going to be? Is JoJo Phillips going to step up? He hasn't yet. Parker Kingston, he can't get the ball every down. Does it go to Carson Ryan? And what it did do was they go, we're running the football. And we ran it and ran it and ran it.
And somebody asked on the chat, and we're believe me, we follow guys. We try to cover all the things we need to and answer as many of your questions as we can. Somebody said we need style points. Well, here's what people aren't understanding about BYU right now. This team is built like an NFL team right now. This is how NFL games are played, with very few exceptions, where you try to limit possessions of the other team, where you get in the huddle and you take your time and you come out and you use the clock and you have 17 minutes more of possession than the other team. And if you do, you dominate. And because the idea in the NFL is nobody cares about style points. You just got to win games. You got to win enough to get into the playoffs, and you win playoff games by grinding and being tough. And there's a few teams that throw it all over the place, but most teams are balanced in the NFL and run the football, right? And so BYU's built like an NFL team. Utah's not built like an NFL team. Utah's go fast, play a running back at quarterback. If we play a team that can't defend the run, Then we're going to put up a bunch of points. They're not as good as they've been defensively. So BYU's a different style than that. But guess what? BYU's 22-3. Utah is not 22-3 over the last 2 years. BYU's built like an NFL team to win consistently, and it's not crazy flashy. But I'll tell you what, I'll take 22-3. And I don't care if we blow out teams by 5 touchdowns. That's not our style right now. And you know what? We'll get more flashy as the quarterback gets more years under his belt, right?
Yeah, for sure. Here's a question. Did Bear get hurt? I saw his arm twist when he went off on the sideline wincing. I was worried he injured his shoulder. Is he playing? We talked about it just a little while ago. I interviewed Bear today. Kalani was asked about Bear. He said, Bear's fine. Yeah. Bear's good.
Sometimes
Bear will be playing on Saturday.
Bears grimace, but they shake it off.
Yeah. They're big guys. David in Brigham City. Brigham City loves the wise guys. We love Brigham City. I popped into that McDonald's many times on my way up to see
we have.
the kids in Logan and over the years playing games up there. All right, let's revisit Blaine's 3 keys to beating Cincinnati. And I think all 3 keys were spot on. So congratulations.
Yeah.
Number 1 was win the turnover margin.
Yeah, they're +2.
+2.
And they did a great job.
And those were big turnovers.
Yeah.
One led to a touchdown, and the other prevented a touchdown.
Well, and one prevented a touchdown, and it should have been a scoop and score as we've looked at it. And you don't blow the whistle on that, for Pete's sakes. Why did the official blow the whistle?
We'll break that down on AFR tomorrow from a bunch of different angles. Yeah. And in every angle, you'll be mad at the ref.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Scott Ernst, 7372, says, is at Henry Marsh who I think he is? Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
That is the Henry Marsh.
We like Olympians on the show.
The world's best steeplechaser for a period of years, where he was the baddest man on the planet at the steeplechase. That is the Henry Marsh. So he does come and follow the show every week. So.
All right, here's the second key. Win the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They certainly won it on the offensive side, rushing for, one went for 222. I think Bear had 58. Yeah. And Cincinnati could not run the ball. So good. That's another check.
87 yards rushing. Absolutely. One. We're good. So 2 checks. Not checks. I'm giving them pluses. I'm giving them a plus and a plus.
Okay. And then no big plays over the top. Make Cincinnati drive for their scores.
They absolutely achieved that. We'll give them a plus for that.
That's a 3-for right there. Yeah. Right there.
Against a good team on the road in a hostile environment, that's how you win football games. You do those things.
Okay, so. Kalani addressed the media today to kick off Thanksgiving week. By the way, I love Monday before Thanksgiving. One, because there's so many sporting events on all week. But that's not why. But it's the start of a holiday season. And so Kalani, ahead of a huge game on Saturday, here's what he had to say to the media this afternoon, his opening remarks.
Yeah, just back at it again. I hope you guys are doing good. Just really excited about the game. And, we're at the last game for our seniors this weekend. And really, really happy with the result after watching the film and everything. Just proud of our guys. Just a commitment to playing tough and being in a physical game. That was good. A good response from all our guys in all 3 phases. And so, looking forward to the momentum that we were able to create, and we need that going into this last game. And we knew going into that game that Cincinnati was going to give us their best shot. It was their senior night, and now we're here at our senior day and our senior game. And so the goal will be controlling the emotions, because we've been part of it, and we talk about it and having those guys figure out that it's going to be an emotional time for them, but also to embrace the opportunity and to go out and play their best. And so really getting over the emotions of this being your last game, and maybe even approaching the concept of it right now, so they can understand it, and then let's go play the game and have fun and perform at our best. We do that, and I think everything else will take care of itself. A really good team. UCF is coached by Scott Frost, who's got a great reputation in what he can do, especially with the offensive mind that he is. He's had a lot of success at UCF, and this is his second stint. So, we can see on film they're a dangerous team, and that their roster's full of talent and skill and speed. And so, this is not going to be an easy game, but we feel good about getting the most out of our guys and performing at our best and seeing what happens. We're going to need to play all 3 phases, complementary football, and do our best to make sure that we're in a best position for success. But looking at their staff, I know Alex has been there for a while. He's got a great reputation as a defensive mind, and so they have really good talent, great coaches and the coaching staff. They're a well-coached team, and I know they're a dangerous opponent. You look at what's going on in the Big 12 conference. Nothing's easy, So you look at the games that happened over the weekend, a lot of tight games, and we remember being in a position where they're playing for a lot right now. They're playing for bowl eligibility, and we're playing for a lot too. So there's a lot riding on this game. Just want to find a way to go 1-0 this weekend. Keep focused on our opponent and stay humble, stay hungry, and away we go. Just kind of doing the same things that we've been doing and trying to keep the momentum going. So what questions do you guys have for me?
Stay humble, stay hungry is tough on Thanksgiving. Can you stay humble and be full?
Well, you know what? They'll be hungry again by Saturday. Because you know how when you eat a lot on Thanksgiving, your stomach kind of gets stretched out, and then you just feel really hungry the next 2 days?
Yeah.
They'll be hungry by Saturday.
BYU Sports Nation game day, 9 a.m. on Saturday on BYU TV and ESPN Plus. 2 hours out at the stadium, live in Cougar Canyon, and then inside our perch there in the corner of the end zone. UCF and BYU, 11 a.m. kickoff on ESPN2. Post-game show back on the BYU TV app and ESPN Plus. We're looking forward to it. I think that message as South Carolina hops on the stream. Clay, good to have you with us. I think that message is so much of it goes back to last year. We were there, and then we fumbled it away. Mm-hmm. And you've heard it from all the players, even coming out of the game last night or Saturday, and going even into the game. It's like, we know what happened last year. We know even barely today. The veterans remind us what happened last year.
Yeah, and it was I don't know, did they lose focus? Who knows what it was? But what they've been doing, Kalani just keeps reminding him of what got you here. And what it is consistency. You're playing sound. You're doing your 1/11th. You're trusting the guy next to you. Because there were times in those games last year where, especially on defense, somebody decided they had to go make a play instead of just making the play they're supposed to and being in their gap. Running back would hit the gap and go for a big, on the offense, trying to make a big play instead of just doing what you need to do and result in a turnover. They've stayed away from that for the most part this year. Even in the Texas Tech game, for the most part on defense, they were gap sound and they did their assignments. They had a couple of really good running backs where guys got in the wrong gap, but that happens 1 or 2 times in a game. Yeah. But for the most part, they played well in that. They were in bad positions. And I think offensively, wasn't that they didn't go out and try, and I think from a scheme perspective, with a bye week, BYU tried to change a lot of things in the way they attacked. And it was a good lesson for BYU because the next week against TCU, they said, you know what? We're going to get back and do what we do to the basics that got us here, execute fast, beat people up, and do our assignments. And they've been really good again the last couple of weeks against good football teams, against bowl-eligible teams, against 7-win teams. They're on a roll. They know what they need to do this week, and that is to play with that kind of passion, to stay in their assignments and do what they're supposed to do. They keep talking about, we got to love each other. We got to trust each other. This team's really high on that and big on that. And I think if they do that, they're going to be just fine against Central Florida.
This is the 5th meeting between BYU and UCF. Cougars lead 3-1. The last meeting was in Orlando last year. BYU pulled away 37-24. The last time it was in Provo, BYU beat the Knights 24-17. Jake Heaps was the quarterback. Wow. It was a long time ago.
It's been a while.
UCF's 2025 record, they're 5-6. They're 2-6. In the Big 12. Their best win, really, North Carolina, back when it was kind of hyped that North Carolina was going to be something. Big 12 wins, Oklahoma State and West Virginia, both at home. Totally underachievers this year, but they've got one game to get bowl eligible, and we heard it in Kalani's remarks. They're coming with all they got, and they got enough talent on there to do some damage on Saturday.
All kinds of team speed on both sides of the ball. And so you have to be a little bit careful with the ball on offense to not just try to, especially in the throw game, to not try to squeeze things in because they got great speed in the secondary. And then defensively, you got to keep things in front of you, and you got to read your keys. You can't get over anxious and go flow into something, because if you got nothing to lose and everything to gain and you're trying to get bowl eligible, do you not run every trick play in the bag that you have? Do you not just throw caution to the wind and throw it all over the place and run reverses? And so it's good. The BYU's patience and discipline on defense is going to have to be at its very, very best. So,
yep, it's going to be interesting. The point spread is 16.5 for BYU, so the Cougars are going to have to put some points on the board. If they're looking for style points, it's got to go way past 16.5.
Yeah, yep.
The weather is actually getting better. The high is 44, the low is 28, and cloudy, but the chance for snow has now moved to Saturday night, and that's 50%, but that's later in the day. We'll be long gone by then. Initially, it was morning snow, and then clearing up. Now it's evening snow,
right?
And so we'll take clouds and 44, and if the wind is light, you won't hear Brian Logan's teeth chattering during the pregame show.
Brian is like, he grew up in California and he acts like he still lives in California because he's always cold, right? So, yeah, and the uniforms, royal helmets, royal jersey, white pants, royal trim. The only thing that's not traditional is they're going the royal helmet. I like that look, though. Don't you like the royal helmet, royal jersey look?
It's going to look good. It is going to look good. Yep. On the stream, headed to Tennessee for Thanksgiving, watching and listening at SeatTac this evening. Sure appreciate the show and the info. Go Cougs. Nice. Good to have, what is that, Unca Sycamore or something like that? I'm just looking at them. Nice job. Good to have you with us. Our stream's hopping tonight, and we love it. We love all the Cougar Nation that will check in, and a lot we'll watch on YouTube later in the week and Facebook, and a lot will listen to the podcast. But this is the core. This is the live show, and we love it. Here come Blaine's 3 keys. Vegas listens to this part closely.
Yeah.
Blaine's 3 keys to beating the Knights on Saturday.
Well, and I've gone with this like 6 weeks in a row is my number one thing.
Are we just rubber stamping
No, but turnover margin has been so big for BYU in this 22-3 run that I just put it first on every. Okay. The bottom line is BYU doesn't lose when they're plus in turnover margin.
No.
And sometimes they win if it's a far inferior opponent, if they're minus, but not, why take that chance? Just be even or plus in turnover margin, and BYU will win this game going away.
Okay, number 2.
Number 2 is run the football, but don't let them run the football. So this is a team, they come in, they're averaging 168.5 yards a game rushing, 217.7 yards passing. That's pretty balanced. Their run-pass ratio in terms of the play calling is pretty balanced. I think if you get them to be one-dimensional, and that one dimension is you get them down early, you make it so they can't run the football, and they've got to throw the football, they have a tendency to put the ball up in the air and throw picks. This quarterback is 8 touchdowns and 8 interceptions, Tavion Jackson. And he also has 14 sacks. He's been sacked 14 times this year. So he's been sacked 14 times. He's thrown 8 picks. You get them where they have to rely on the throw with BYU's pressure, then some turnovers are going to come. And so I think you stuff them from running the football. And on the other side, you run the ball, and then you get big plays in the pass game on play action. So run it and don't let them run it. That's my number 2.
And number 3, the third key to beating the Knights on Saturday.
Yeah, my thing for – I just like – I don't know how to describe this, but play with passion like you got something to play for, because they're certainly going to come and play with passion because they're trying to get bowl eligible. So I feel like BYU's got to match their level of intensity to start the game. And you know what? If you come with intensity and you start fast and play with passion, because you got a lot to play for, and you get out and you jump out on Central Florida, I think Central Florida's passion and all that will fade quickly if BYU takes a 14-point lead early in that game.
You think they'll chill out?
They'll chill in the cold.
Okay, turnover margin, run the ball, don't let UCF run, play with passion, like you have something to play for. Those are Blaine's 3 keys.
There you go.
For Saturday. We will revisit them next Monday. Here's a question for you.
Okay.
Would you prefer Arizona beating Arizona State Friday night, or would you prefer ASU wins so that BYU takes the field with something to play for on Saturday?
This doesn't have anything to do with you. I just like Arizona better than Arizona State. I love Noah Fafita. I love the way he plays. I like the coaching staff down there, Brent Brennan.
But as a player, would you like to? You were a player. Yeah. Would you like to know you're in, as opposed to you're in the Holiday Bowl, or you got to go up to Utah and beat them to get to the Holiday Bowl?
I think I'd rather not even. I don't even know how they would even worry about that, because BYU at this point, BYU's got to be thinking. not only do we need to win this thing, we need to beat the crap out of these guys because we have to continue to show the football world that we're disrespected. You got to play for yourself at this point. And you know that if you go win and dominate, it doesn't really matter what anybody else does. So I don't know that I would even be paying attention to it. And so I'd probably be rooting for whoever I liked better, even as a player.
Okay, so
I like Arizona better. I don't like Arizona State.
So you'd like Arizona State to get beat Friday?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind just, when we wake up Saturday going, you're playing for style points and you're going to Arlington.
Yeah, and maybe that takes a tiny bit of pressure off, but I don't know that really comes into it. Okay. Is it okay that I root for Arizona?
Yeah. I think
I'm not a big fan of Arizona State.
BYU beat Arizona in Tucson in double overtime.
And
every win for Arizona helps BYU's strength of schedule.
And when you think about it, when it all comes down to it, if a couple teams lose in front of BYU and Arizona wins in this one, that helps BYU to move up and to be justified if for some crazy reason, they get there and they play Texas Tech and it's a 3-point loss. Then the committee goes, okay, let's look at the season as a whole. The Arizona win would help.
Sure.
So we got to root for Arizona for that reason because BYU needs to win this game, period.
Yeah, I agree.
So
here's the thing. There are some teams in front of BYU that are going to lose this weekend. Let's run down the games that matter. The new college football rankings will be out tomorrow. We kind of think they'll be the same as they were last week because nobody lost.
Right.
They're going to be moving around. So the numbers we're going to use here are last week's numbers. That'll probably be tomorrow's numbers, but they'll be close. Friday, 6th-ranked Ole Miss is at Mississippi State. Ole Miss is better than Mississippi State, but it's the Egg Bowl.
And the Egg Bowl can go any way.
That can go anyway. On Saturday, number 1 Ohio State is at number 18 Michigan. Now, if Ohio State loses, they're not falling out. So that one I'm not.
But here's the interesting thing about that. Do you know Ohio State hasn't won at Michigan in like 5 straight games? Even when Michigan wasn't good, they didn't win at Michigan.
Yeah, and
there's something about Ohio State playing at Michigan that just is not good for them.
We know what that feels like. It's the rivalry of all rivalries. Yeah. Okay, number 3 Texas A&M is at number 17 Texas. If Texas A&M loses that game, they're not going to fall all the way out. But Texas isn't going to climb. Texas is probably not going to win that game.
No, they won't climb up. Yeah, they're not going to win.
Here's an interesting one. Number 4 Georgia is at number 16 Georgia Tech. It's ACC, SEC, so it doesn't have anything to do with the SEC championship game. Georgia Tech's coming off a loss. Georgia Tech could beat Georgia. Remember last year's game that was crazy?
Yeah.
Like triple overtime or whatever? Well, they're back.
Would Georgia fall out? Would they fall far enough to?
Georgia Tech's probably going to be 20 or worse after their loss the other day. So I don't know, but these next ones get interesting.
Yeah.
7th-ranked Oregon goes to Washington.
Yeah, and that's a tough place to play.
Yeah.
And absolutely Washington could, if they beat number 7 Oregon, then certainly 7 Oregon should fall behind BYU.
And remember, BYU just needs to hop one of these teams.
Right.
LSU is at 8th-ranked Oklahoma, who did not look good. Their defense was all right, but they didn't look great against Missouri at home.
Yeah.
Here comes LSU.
Yeah, they could absolutely. Now, it is at Oklahoma, but they could lose.
LSU's got no shortage
Oregon's a
of talent.
possibility. Oklahoma's a possibility.
Number 9, Notre Dame plays the late game Saturday night at Stanford. Here's the thing about Stanford. They just blew out Cal. They've got some decent wins. I mean, BYU beat them it feels like 5 years ago, but it was in September.
And that, believe it or not, that's a rivalry game. That's a traditional rivalry game.
Yeah. So anything can happen there, but this is the one I'm watching.
Yeah.
10th-ranked Alabama is at Auburn.
And that would be a 3rd loss for Alabama, right?
And they would be out.
Well, and Alabama, one of Alabama's losses is to
Florida State. And they're 2-6 in the and
there's no way
ACC.
They could justify Alabama being in front of BYU on an at-large at that point.
I think that's the one I'm watching. And if it was at Tuscaloosa, then I might think differently, but I think Auburn can get them. Alabama is not they got some quality wins, sure, but they lost to Oklahoma on their home field. Mm-hmm. If you're Alabama, you don't do that. You don't lose to anybody.
Well, here's the other thing: if LSU beats Oklahoma, then Oklahoma's, then the loss to Oklahoma looks even worse.
And Oklahoma's out because you got beat by an unranked team.
Yeah.
So there's some wiggle room. BYU's got to take care of business, but Saturdays and Friday are going to be great for watching the ticker and flipping from game to game.
The best thing in the world for the Big 12 is you want to ensure 2 bids. Texas Tech and BYU both dominate this week. They play each other in the Big 12 championship game. BYU wins a close game. There's no way because Texas Tech would probably be
5
at worst.
Yeah.
Possibility it could be 4. Let's say Georgia Tech they could be 4. BYU should be, let's say they move up 1, 10 or 9.
That's the greatest fear of the SEC is that scenario.
Yeah, and then BYU beats them in a close one. You're certainly not going to drop Texas Tech out from number 5 or 4 because they lost to the number 9 team in the country in a close game on a neutral field. You'd have 2 teams in the Big 12 championship. So if you're Brett Yormark, that's what you want.
Yeah. How about Oregon, Oklahoma, and Alabama all go down this weekend?
That would be awesome.
Let's do our Cougar Board question of the week. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, it's the largest online community of BYU fans, thousands of posts every day. This question comes from Dilbert, one of their insider subscribers. And this will wrap up some of our thoughts on Cincinnati, at least for the minute. I know we prefer to run the ball against Cincinnati because they couldn't stop that. But when we did attempt to throw it, seemed like we struggled. What did Cincinnati do to limit our effectiveness in the passing game? And one note that we made earlier is that Chase Roberts wasn't in the passing game, and that's a huge loss when you take your senior leading receiver with 17 career touchdowns out unexpectedly. But they didn't blister it downfield throwing the football.
Yeah, it didn't seem like they tried to push it downfield. And remember, Cincinnati's they're very solid. Especially in the secondary, defensively. I do think that Chase because Chase is your get down the field threat, right? And I think BYU, knowing that this quarterback was a dangerous quarterback and that they had good running backs and they were very skilled offensively and they were averaging almost 40 points a game, the game plan wasn't to throw it all over the place. The game plan was to control the clock, to win time of possession, to limit the number of possessions that Cincinnati would have. That was the game plan. It's and we talked about this a little earlier, it was an NFL type of a game plan. You got to possess the ball, you got to beat the other team up, you got to win it in the fourth quarter. And so I think by design, that was the plan. And then I think in that plan, there was room for maybe some play action to push the ball up the field, but without Chase, JoJo's not quite there yet. Maybe this week a little bit better against the Central Florida team.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I think by design, that's what they did against Cincinnati. And I don't know that you're right. They didn't push the ball upfield, but did they really struggle throwing it? I think by game plan, they didn't really have that as an emphasis in that game.
That is the Cougar Board question of the week. It is time now for the Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond, The Secret's in the Salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. Tonight, it's our pleasure to announce LJ Martin as this week's honoree. Blaine, tell everybody what LJ did.
Yeah, so Cincinnati has a very good run defense. They got the Godfather playing nose tackle, for Pete's sakes, Dante Corleone. He had 32 touches, 32 rushes in this game, a career high 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 4 passes that he caught. So 36 touches for LJ is a lot, 44 yards. So the 222 yards is the 8th most yards in a game in program history rushing the football. He's the first BYU runner to go over 200 since Tyler Algier did it against Washington State in 2019. Saturday was his 8th career game over 100 yards and his first 200-yard game. It also moved him over 1,000 yards for the season. He has 1,134 yards now, Dave. 6'2", 230-pound junior from El Paso. Remember, he hurt his shoulder in that Iowa State game.
Yeah.
There was some concern about what he was going to do. Wasn't completely healthy, but he remains BYU's game changer on offense. He's come back. He's been playing he's not injured. We always say you can play hurt, just not injured.
Yeah.
So he's hurt. He's hurting every game. He didn't run like he was hurt at all.
It doesn't feel good to get tackled.
No. He was awesome. So today he was named the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week.
That's outstanding. LJ Martin is our Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. And LJ was on live with us on the post-game show after the game on Saturday, and he told Spencer, he goes, I could have done more. 32 carries, 34. He didn't have a limit.
Do you remember the old days?
Give me the rock.
When the Oilers, the Houston Oilers, so it wasn't the Texans. No. It was the Houston Oilers, right?
And Earl Campbell.
And Earl Campbell was the running back. And they would give him the ball like 38 times, like in an NFL game.
Yeah.
And they asked Bum Phillips, the head coach, they said, how, when you give Earl the ball 38 times, doesn't he get tired? And Bum Phillips, the great quote was, why? The ball's not heavy. And that's what you say for LJ. The ball,
it's not heavy.
Give it to him 32 times. The ball's not that heavy. He's not going to get tired.
Hey, speaking of the ball, we've got another football to auction off and raise some money for the E from Hope mission, doing some amazing things in Uganda. So the last ball that we had, autographed by the team, including Bear and all that, raised enough money to put 10 kids through school for an entire year. Books, clothes, food, life, school for an entire year from one little football. And so now we have another football signed by the same players. This football, they're 10-1, so this is a special ball right out of the gate. Remember when the other ball was up for auction, we hadn't played yet.
Right.
And so then each week the value went up. This ball comes in at 10-1.
Yeah,
it might be a ball that's going to the Big 12 championship.
Double-digit seasons in Power 4 football are not easy, and this ball is signed by a double-digit win team that, I feel pretty good about this team getting to the Big 12 championship game.
I do too. Okay, so look, to place a bid, and it's in the stream and in the show notes, and there's the ball right there. There's also an autographed hat by Sialia Sarah, who had a nice game the other night. Go to our website, wiseguys.com, click on the Contact Us tab, and then use the form there to send us your bid. $1,000 is what we're starting with. So look, we're in this to raise money. This isn't a how cheap can we give this ball away? We want to send kids to school and change their life, and you can help us by bidding on that ball. And we'll announce the winner later, but we'll have it up through the holiday season. And look at the smile on that young guy's face. You can send kids like him to school and change their life with money. And so we've got this 10-1 football. It might be 11-1. Could be 12-1. Could be going to the college football playoff.
This team goes to the college football playoff and wins a game. And
man, that becomes a ball that no one else has.
They win a game. Let's say they go in and they're hosting, and they win a game, and then they're playing in the Fiesta Bowl or I don't know what the other one is, the Rose Bowl.
You want to have that ball
to get to the man. Yeah, you want to have that ball.
And look what Cougar Nation did in Cincinnati. We talked about it earlier. This is what we do. And here's a cool football. It'd be an awesome gift for Christmas to your favorite BYU fan. Hey, here's a signed ball from the entire team. Merry Christmas. While at the same time putting kids into school. So do that, and we'll talk about it over the next few weeks, but that's in play. Our campus notes are presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide. BYU Pathway makes truly affordable, fully online, spiritually based college degrees accessible to folks worldwide through greatly reduced tuition, weekly peer gatherings, and English support, helping students earn sooner, increase their income, and deepen their faith. And you can learn more at byupathway.edu. And we'll talk about a special time on campus. Wait until you hear what we're about to say as we move through some of these sports. And let's start with cross country. The national championships were held over the weekend in Columbia, Missouri. The BYU men and the BYU women were the defending national champs. Mm-hmm. That's tough to do. The men lost 4 of the 5 starters from last year's team, but they've been ranked in the top 10 all season long. The women were number 1 wire to almost wire. And then they had the races on Saturday morning.
And the women in the 6K at the college level, collegiate level, BYU's women finished second this year. North Carolina State wins the national title. Jane Hedengren, the freshman, finished second behind defending national champion senior Doris Limgole from Alabama. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, they both broke the course record. So Jane broke the course record even though she finished second in this as a true freshman. She's going to be incredible. Riley Chamberlain, a junior, finished 4th, and BYU finishes 2nd on the women's side.
So I was watching that race before we went to game day, and I sat there and I thought, you know what? Do I feel bad? I feel bad that we took 2nd because they'd been number 1 all year, and the number 1 runner is a freshman who's trying to become the first freshman in 40 years to win the national title. That's how dominant BYU is. His fans were like, oh, what? We didn't take.
We finished second in the nation.
Yeah, and almost everybody's coming back. This is the beginning of a dynasty or a continuation of one.
Right.
So they're the national runners-up. And Diljit Taylor and Jane Hedegren are going to join the show a little bit down the road. And we'll get their perspective looking back on this as they set course for, who's going to be preseason ranked number 1 next year?
BYU. Yep, the women will be.
It's going to be wire-to-wire number 1?
Yep.
BYU.
They will very likely win a national championship.
But on race day, one thing Diljit told the team afterwards, on race day, everything's got to go just right.
Yeah.
And everything went right a little bit more for North Carolina State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the men took the field. Yeah,
and the men finished 11th. As you mentioned, it was kind of a rebuild year, and you're still 11th in the country. Oklahoma State won the national title. Tavon Kitchen, a freshman, finished 32nd, and Noah Jenkins, a sophomore, finished 43rd. Very young team on the men's side. Everybody will be back next year, and they'll be back up in that top 5 again.
Great seasons for both the men and the women. We can congratulate them. We salute them. Women's soccer at the NCAA tournament. Number 1 Stanford beat BYU 6-0 this afternoon on their home field in the Sweet 16. The loss caps an amazing 26-day stretch for the Cougars to go from 8th place in the Big 12 to the Big 12 championships to the Sweet 16 with 1 senior on their active roster. Backup goalie turned starter Chelsea Peterson gave us one of the best sports stories of the season, and Ellie Walbrook had she was a spectacular goal scorer from start to finish. And you can see our Wise Guys interviews with those 2 stars at wiseguys.com. Stanford was better. They're number 1 in the country in scoring, assists, you name it. They're projected to win the tournament, and on their home field, BYU met their match today, and that's okay.
Sometimes, yeah. And this is a veteran Stanford team. This is probably the best Stanford team, and Stanford's always great, right? They're one of the top programs historically, great every year. This might be the best squad they've had in a long time, and they're projected to win the national championship. So, yeah, BYU kind of ran into a really good team today.
Yeah, they averaged 4 goals a game all year long, and they had 4 goals by halftime.
Early, yeah.
And they came fast and furious. Jen Rockwood just texted me back. We sent her congrats and a happy Thanksgiving. She says the same. And, her 10th Sweet 16.
Yeah, amazing.
And in the last 4 years, 2 Sweet 16s and 2 College Cups.
And we talked early, and she's like, "Yeah,
4 of the last 5 years.
We expect to compete. This is a really young team this year. We got a lot of talent. We'll see how they come together. They came together at the right time to win the Big 12 championship, which was remarkable. And then, yeah, they ran into Stanford. That's okay.
What's going to be crazy is Jen's going to be back on this show talking about this year's team in August.
Yeah,
and it's going to feel like this.
I know.
So we're in this moment. We need to enjoy it, but man, it's flying. You can feel it flying.
And they'll be the defending Big 12 tournament champions going into next year with pretty much everybody back.
Yeah, it'll be good. All right, men's basketball.
Yeah, they're 4-1 right now. National ranking of 9. That's the new AP Top 25. The Big 12 is the basketball conference. You've got Arizona ranked number 2, Houston number 3, BYU number 9, Iowa State number 15, and Texas Tech number 20.
Today, Houston beat Syracuse in overtime, and Iowa State got a nice win over St. John's, so It's been a nice boost. Somebody was mentioning it on the stream, a nice boost today for Big 12 basketball.
Yep, absolutely. It's a great league, and BYU's going to be right there competing for a championship this year.
So they went up to the Delta Center and hammered Wisconsin 98-70. The Badgers were 23rd at the time. They played on that video game floor.
Yeah. That thing was, I don't know, it confused me watching the game.
Yeah,
I don't know how the players even played on it.
I don't like it. But Richie Saunders liked it. He scored 26 points. He hit 5 threes. AJ had 18. Was 11 of 12 from the free throw line. They had 33 NBA scouts at that game. Of course
they did.
33 on a Friday afternoon. It was a 2:00 game here locally. BYU's now 20-5 at the Delta Center, 20-1 in their last 21 games, and they've got a big week ahead.
That was a whipping of Wisconsin.
Yeah, it was.
And when nice. AJ had to sit down with fouls, we all wondered what's going to happen. I think Kevin Young wondered what was going to happen, and all that happened is Richie took over, and everything was just fine.
They extended their lead before AJ came back.
So this week, BYU against Miami on Thursday. That's Thanksgiving Day, 3:00 Mountain on ESPN and BYU Radio.
Don't get lost in the Cowboys-Chiefs game and then realize later that BYU is on ESPN at 3:00.
Got to go watch them. And then
flip it over.
BYU is against Georgetown or Dayton on Friday, 5 or 7:30, depending on which one they face. That's also either on ESPN or ESPN2. So you're going to have to kind of watch who wins on Thursday in this tournament, and then you'll see. But Georgetown or Dayton, both great programs, right?
Yeah, it's a big road trip.
And then Cal Baptist back on December 3rd in the Delta Center where they're 21-1, as you mentioned. That's on ESPN Plus, and you and I get to call it.
Yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be on a normal floor.
Yeah, except for when you and I call games from the Delta Center, we have to sit up where Bowler and those guys sit.
Yeah.
I don't love that.
Yeah. We're
up on mid concourse.
We like to be down where we can hear the coaches.
I bring my binoculars. We look at the monitor. It's just not the same. Bowler doesn't like it either.
But that's where we'll be.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Kennard Davis update. He remains suspended indefinitely after being charged with driving under the influence, a Class B misdemeanor. He entered a not guilty plea, and his attorney, former Cougar Danny Frazier, is demanding a jury trial. That leads me to believe they're pretty confident they want to get it in front of people and have them go, what? Pre-trial conference has been set for January 12th. We don't know if he's going to play or can play between now and then. It's kind of day to day, and we'll see. But in this country, you're still innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
And you should be able to do your things until proven otherwise. But we just don't know about this one. Well, information that comes up is new. Like last week, after our show, some new information came out. And it's like, okay, new information always changes things. It's nobody's fault that they have old information when that old information is old because new stuff has come out. And that's kind of where we were on that. And so and that's where we are today.
And there's one part about this that we understand and know about that we can't say, that I wish would just come out. I wish BYU would make a statement on, or he'd make a statement on that everybody would go, oh, interesting. But when we can't, that's a terrible tease because we're not going to talk about it. But
we'll just let it play out.
We'll just let it play out. So
interesting stat from NCAA March Madness on X. So far this season, ranked teams were 85-0 against unranked teams until this afternoon when Seton Hall upset number 23 NC State.
Wow.
So
it's
not been upset city out of the gate.
Yeah. Well, is BYU's ranked as high as they are, then let's keep it that way. So
women's basketball, the Cougars are 6-0 under Lee Kumar.
They're playing well. BYU beat Weber State 79-62. Laura Roll call 18 points and 5 rebounds, and Delaney Gibbs didn't play.
She's been banged up, so she didn't play, and she didn't play at Montana.
Yeah.
BYU won that 70-69 with the Mackeys in attendance. Mariah Hudgens had 23 points. So they go on the road, and that was a tough one, and they get a 1-point win. This is a rebuild, right? BYU hasn't been very good in the last few seasons. So a 6-0 start. They have got some tougher games coming up. In fact, later this week, we'll kind of know what we got.
Yeah, they're taking on Virginia Tech on Thanksgiving Day, 3:30 in St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. You and I offered, in fact, we pled to go with the team and to broadcast it. We were going to give up Thanksgiving to be able to go to St. Thomas, and they said no. So.
No, and we think, to answer Linda Murray's question on the stream, we think Delaney will be playing this week. Yeah. We think they were held. She was held out the last couple of games,
so she could get healthy
to get ready for these bigger ones. And after Virginia Tech, they'll play a couple more games while they're down there in Paradise. You can't spend the whole week on the beach and just play one game.
Right.
You're down there for a reason.
Absolutely. So she's down there. Women's volleyball, 20-8, 8-8 in league. Here's the interesting thing: 8-8 in league, they're ranked number 24 in the country. Right. This is the Big 12 in volleyball. Women's volleyball is just like they are in men's basketball. Yeah. They routed number 13 Kansas 3-0. Davis had 15 kills, 492 on the season. Sully was on the show. Check that out. BYU beat Arizona 3-1. Sully had 28 kills, set the BYU freshman record with 477.
Let me tell you, unless LJ got over 200. We were looking at the relay.
That could have been the relay athlete of the week
right here.
She's playing great, and she's a sweetheart. She's great. What a personality and what a player. Big 12 standings, they're tied for 8th. Up next, Utah at BYU senior night. That's Wednesday, 6 p.m. That's the pre-Thanksgiving showdown in the Smith Fieldhouse.
That's going to be packed. You know, a lot of the kids will already be gone, but not the ones that love volleyball.
Yeah. Wait, I think I got to figure out how to get to that.
That's a great holiday. That's a great way to start the holiday right there at the Smith Fieldhouse.
And then BYU's at Colorado Saturday at 1 o'clock. Both games are available on ESPN+.
Women's tennis news: Kendall Kovic and Gracie Levelston made it to the round of 16 before they were eliminated by North Carolina 6-3 and 7-6 in doubles. This is the first time that BYU sent competitors in doubles into the Sweet 16 since 1993.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
So shout out to Kendall and Gracie, and they're playing some great tennis.
How about men's soccer? We don't talk about it that much. It's a club sport, but that's the case for a lot of universities around the country where women's is NCAA sanctioned and men's is a club sport. They defeated UCLA to win the national championship this week.
Nice job.
In Overland Park, Kansas, or as we all call it, OP. Men's soccer is a club sport, as we mentioned, but it's still a big deal for them to win that. Like, obviously, UCLA, another big major name, is men's soccer's club.
Yeah, that's great. Good job, BYU. Men's soccer, women's soccer. As a couple of comments on the stream have indicated tonight, all the sports are cruising along and doing well. Our campus notes are presented by BYU Pathway Worldwide.
And by the way, I love that. Like, so now we determined earlier today that Perth is further away from Provo. So our furthest listener today is in Perth. But now they're going, according to Google, the Kerguelen Islands are the furthest place from Provo. So if we could get somebody to watch or to come in the live stream from there.
How about Mean Uncle Dave? Truck driver, so I catch you guys somewhere in the western 11 states every week.
So
he takes wise guys. It's just wherever he's at, he takes wise guys.
So Uncle D from Uncle B here, tell us where you're at every week. We love that.
Yeah,
so
that's sweet.
Mean Uncle Dave.
Cougars in the NFL, our Thanksgiving edition, right?
That's right.
And we've got a bunch of them playing on Thursday. Zane Anderson and Chris Brooks for the Packers are at the Lions, 11 a.m. on Fox. Zane had a great game the other day, and his coach gave him a shout out in the team locker room after the game, and it's like, hey, there he is. That's our guy.
Zane's the next Danny Sorensen.
Yeah,
right. So the Chiefs with Kingsley Suamataia and Andy Reid, of course, are at the Cowboys 2:30 on CBS.
Cowboys just beat the Eagles, and the Chiefs just won their game. And so all of a sudden, you got two teams feeling pretty good about themselves. That might be the most watched Thanksgiving game in NFL history.
Yeah.
One, because it's the Chiefs, and then two, because it's the Cowboys, and they both just won. And, the Cowboys, it just takes one win before they're all convinced they're going back to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So they just got that against the Eagles. The Bengals and Ryan Rico at the Ravens with Kyle Van Noy. That is Thanksgiving night at 6:20 on NBC. So we got Cougars all day long.
Ryan's the best punter in the league.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Amazing. So Jordan Kennard asks, do you want someone else besides Texas Tech against BYU in the Big 12 championship game? I'm interested in facing Arizona State, but I would not want to meet Utah again, so I'd rather BYU versus Texas Tech. We want BYU to play the highest ranked team possible in that game, and that's Texas Tech. And everybody thinks Texas Tech will dominate BYU again. I'm not so sure. After watching the film, BYU physically matches up well, and if they play with better execution and a little more aggressive game plan on offense, I think BYU has a shot. I would rather play Texas Tech.
I would too. I would like to see us play better. We don't turn the ball over 3 times. It's a different game automatically.
Of course.
And since that game, BYU hasn't turned the ball over. And so it feels like they've flipped the switch and are all business, and we'll see Saturday what mood they come out in.
We were talking to Nixon, our cohort in AFR, and we all agreed that we want Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship game. We'll take anybody, but we'd prefer to have a rematch against Texas Tech.
Let's do on this day, November 24th, 1938. The National Semi-Pro Basketball Congress authorizes the yellow basketball.
What was it before? Brown?
Maybe it was brown.
I don't know.
Maybe it was orange, but they went with yellow.
Wow.
On this day, 1938. And you know what? I'm glad we've moved on from that.
Yeah, because that would be hard for me to watch.
Yeah.
So it is a color I can see, though, as a colorblind guy.
Yeah, that's true.
1954, Air Force One, the first presidential airplane, was christened.
How about that?
And it's still called Air Force One, but I don't know how many there have been.
Yeah, it's like Shamu, right?
Yeah, they're all named Shamu. Yeah.
You just Shamu. Can there be a Shamu?
It's like Shamu the
Cosmo.
32nd.
How can you be at 9 different events?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all named
happened.
Shamu.
1960 on this day, Wilt Chamberlain pulls down 55 rebounds in Philadelphia's 132-129 win over Boston.
Who's the second leading rebounder in that game? I don't know, but I wonder how many he got on their team, on his team.
Like 5, maybe?
So in 1970, Jim Plunkett won the Heisman Trophy.
How about that? 1973 on this day, Gary Scheide throws for 354 yards and 4 touchdowns in BYU's 46-22 win at Utah. He said that the Ute fans were so mad they were just pelting the team with snowballs.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on, Ute fans.
So 1982, Cal Ripken won the American League Rookie of the Year.
Man, that was a long time ago.
That was a long time
Because he's the
ago.
Iron Man.
Yeah, he is.
Played a long time. On this day in 2000, as we open the show, LaVell Edwards coaches his final game for BYU, a 34-27 victory at Utah, his 257th win. And Brandon Doman was with us earlier tonight, and he was the quarterback that got that win in dramatic fashion.
Yes.
And that was a fun visit.
In 2007, another big moment in BYU football history, Max Hall throws a bomb to Austin Collie on 4th and 18 late in the fourth quarter. Harvey Unga scores a couple plays later to lead BYU to a 17-10 victory against Utah.
Are you saying that was on this day that 4th and 18 became a thing?
It became a thing. And then Austin Collie's quote, when you're doing the right thing on and off the field, magic happens, right?
Magic happens.
So my favorite play in that game was when Harvey ran over. I don't remember who the safety was, but he ran
gave
over.
him a look, then kind of tossed him the ball.
Looked down at the guy afterwards. Like
Max was worried that he was going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
But place went nuts. 4th and 18. How do you get, 55 yards?
Austin describes it to us all the time and still can't believe it. So
November 24th birthdays. 1849, Zachary Taylor. Who's Zachary Taylor? The 12th president of the United States.
See, I'm glad we do this because every once in a while I forget that Zachary Taylor was a president.
Yeah, and he deserves his,
he should
thing.
get his due.
Yeah.
1938, the great Oscar Robertson, the Big O.
Big O. November 24th deaths, 1991, Freddie Mercury, the lead singer of Queen.
Yeah.
Died on this day in 1991. Man, he could belt it out.
Oh, gosh, what an entertainer. Their performance in Live Aid, unbelievable.
And his songs are on the radio all the time.
Still. Everybody knows Queen songs. Mm-hmm. Everybody. So
isn't that interesting that somebody can be born far away in a distant land, have a talent, and be dead since 1991, and all of us know his stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great. Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week comes from the legendary LaVell Edwards, who said,
he said, the greatest moment of my career was winning the national championship. The lowest moment happens every time we lose to Utah. And, of course, LaVell Edwards went 22-7 against Utah, so it didn't happen very often. And BYU now has won 3 straight in the series for the first time since 1992 when Edwards was a head coach.
I'll be honest, I don't see them losing next year either.
No. BYU's loaded, and they got a lot of guys coming back. And they just had the number 1 recruiting class in the Big 12. Yeah. It's not getting worse.
It's a good time. I want to thank Brandon Doman for joining us. Next week, Ty Detmer on the anniversary of his Heisman Trophy Award. Plus, we'll preview the Big 12 championship game, whoever's in it. But, Brandon Doman and Ty Detmer, and upcoming guests, Tom Holmoe, Diljit Taylor, Ace DeBanza, Jane Hedegren, Jeff Hansen, the recruiting guru. You know what? All the big names come on this show.
Yeah. Weren't you with me over in Hawaii when Ty won the Heisman? Were you there?
Yeah, we were calling that game.
Do you think Ty's going to remember that you and I were there with him when he won it?
We've reminded him many times, but I don't know if he'll remember.
Yeah, he remembers a lot of things. He may not remember that.
How about it'll be 35 years to the day next Monday when they called out his name, and he was there on the side of the pool with the team around him and a little IFB in his ear, so he heard it before everybody else.
I was laying down in front holding a mic.
and the guy said, Ty Detmer of BYU, and LaVell gives him a big hug. Then they threw him in the pool.
Yep.
And then we got our butt kicked that night against Hawaii. Hawaii was not happy about the Heisman.
That has to be one of the ugliest games you and I have ever called.
Then we went to the Holiday Bowl and got slaughtered even worse. So we'll focus on the Heisman Award.
We will not talk about the 2 games that were after that.
Unless Ty brings it up, we will not. We'll not bring it up.
You
but that's
have our
be
promise, everyone. We're not going to talk about those ugly games.
Here's where you can find us this week.
Yeah, Tuesday, tomorrow night, AFR, 5 p.m. It will be available to stream live on BYU TV app. Anytime after that, you can go find it and watch it.
That's going to be a really good show.
It also is on at 5 o'clock and available on demand at ESPN Plus always.
Yeah, you can see, and we're going to, of all the big plays, and there were a lot of them, we're going to look at all of them. That shot of LJ running into a guy and his mouthpiece going flying. That's artistry.
We're going to do it in super slow mo for you tomorrow, so you can see the mouthpiece come out and the guy's head snap back.
Yeah, but he was fine. We should note that the player was fine.
We don't wish anybody get hurt. But
and he retrieved his mouthpiece.
We do love Bear to run over people and for their mouthpieces. We call those slobber knockers. When the spit and your mouthpiece comes out of your mouth, you get hit so hard.
That's right. We'll see you Saturday morning on BYU Sports Nation Game Day. 2 hours of pregame coverage at the stadium. 9 o'clock. We're on the air on BYU TV, the mothership, and ESPN Plus. I sit down with Bear Bachmeier. We're going to have a really good show as we get close to, you know what? Should we go there? If Arizona State wins Friday night and BYU takes the field Saturday morning with a win to get to the Big 12 championship game, one of the biggest moments in the history of the football program.
Absolutely.
That's what we have coming.
That's coming this week.
That's kind of exciting.
Yeah. And we get to watch fun basketball between now and then.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I'll have some articles in the Deseret News, too, as well.
Make sure you read Dave's about Ron McBride and LaVell, because that's a fun one.
Yeah, that's just two legends meeting together in the middle of the field 25 years ago tonight on November 24th in LaVell's last blast. We remind you, Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus, supplies plus support. Find out more at bradyplus.com.
And by Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. See how Eddie can serve your team at eddy.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, empowering dreams for over 80 years. Find out what they can do for you at macu.com, macu.com.
Our Relight Athlete of the Week presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. And our Relight Athlete of the Week this week is L.J. Martin.
Man, did he earn that. BYU Pathways Worldwide is with us as well. And the Wise Guys distributed by the Deseret News as we embark on Thanksgiving. We're grateful for all those companies that support us. We don't charge anybody for this show. And so it's free for Cougar Nation anywhere in the world. We've been doing it now for 3.5 years. These sponsors allow us to justify it to our wives.
Yes.
And anyway, they help us do this show. So we, with Brady, Eddie, Mountain America Credit Union, Redmond, and BYU Pathway Worldwide, and the Deseret News, those are big names. Because you know what? Wise Guys is a big deal. Yeah. And we love doing it.
And we should all be grateful, including all of you out there, because they let us do this. They let us get together with our Wise Guys family every Monday night. So,
and you know what? It's helpful when the sports teams win all the time.
Yeah, that makes it really fun.
When have we haven't had a depressing show for a long time where we just come on and go, you know what, nothing's going right. Every show we come on, doesn't matter if it's the dead of summer, something's happened.
That's right.
Around Cougar Nation that's pretty cool, and we're glad that you experienced that with us. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. See you tomorrow on AFR.